It happens at 3 a.m. Your eyes open. The room is exactly as you left it. The ceiling, the shadows, the faint light from the window. But something is wrong. You try to turn over. Nothing. You try to lift your arm. Nothing. You try to scream. Silence. The sound dies somewhere between your brain and your throat. And then you feel it. A presence. In the corner. Moving closer. You cannot run. You cannot fight. You cannot even blink fast enough to make it stop. You are completely conscious. Completely trapped. Awake, trapped. And whatever is in that room with you feels more real than anything you have ever experienced in daylight. Then it ends. You gasp, you sit up, the room is empty, and you spend the rest of the night wondering, was it real? It was not a dream. It was not a ghost. It was not a demon, a witch, or a sign that something is wrong with you. It was sleep paralysis. And what your brain was doing in those frozen seconds is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood phenomena in all of human neuroscience. To understand what happened to you, we need to go somewhere unexpected. We need to go inside a dream. Every night, your brain cycles through different stages of sleep: light sleep, deep sleep, and then the stage where things get strange: REM sleep, rapid eye movement. This is where your most vivid dreams live. Your brain during REM is almost indistinguishable from your brain while awake. The visual cortex is firing. The emotional centers are activated. Stories are being generated with a cast of characters, settings, and feelings that feel completely real. But your body is not awake, and this is where the system gets clever. During REM sleep, your brain sends a deliberate signal to your spinal cord. The signal is simple. It says, stop. Every voluntary muscle in your body receives the message and goes offline. Your arms, your legs, your chest, breathing on autopilot. This is called rematonia, and it exists for one very important reason. Without it, you would act out your dreams. You would run, fight, fall, and flail your way through every night. REMatonia is your brain's way of keeping you safe while it takes you somewhere else entirely. It is one of the most elegant protective mechanisms in the human body. So what goes wrong during sleep paralysis? The timing slips. Your conscious mind wakes up before the paralysis lifts. You are awake enough to see the room, to feel your body, to know that something is not right. But the REMatonia signal is still running. The message your brain sent, stop, has not yet been canceled, and so you lie there, conscious, aware, completely unable to move. Conscious trapped. Most episodes last between 20 seconds and 2 minutes. It feels like a lifetime. But the paralysis is only half the story, because most people who experience sleep paralysis do not just feel frozen. They see something: a shadow in the doorway, a figure at the foot of the bed, a weight pressing down on the chest so real they can feel the breath leaving their lungs. Where does this come from? Your brain, still half inside a dream, begins to generate an explanation for what it cannot understand. It wakes up, it cannot move, something must be causing this. And so, it creates something. Not randomly, not chaotically, with terrifying precision and creativity. Your brain did this. The brain reaches into its deepest library of threat responses, the same primal systems that kept your ancestors alive on the savannah, and it builds a presence. Something is here. Something is causing this. Something is dangerous. It came from you. Neuroscientists call this a hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucination. It has a name. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do: detect threats and respond. It just happens to be doing it in a dark room at 3 a.m. with no actual threat present. And here is where it gets extraordinary. Across every culture in human history, separated by oceans, centuries, and belief systems, people have described the same experience. In medieval Europe, they called it the old hag, an ancient woman who sat on your chest while you slept and stole your breath. In West Africa, the spirit is known as the Ogun Oru. In Newfoundland, fishermen spoke of the old hag riding them in the night. In Japan, it is the Kanashibari, being bound by invisible rope. In Turkey, a jinn sits on the sleeper's chest and presses down. In Brazil, the pisadera, a thin, pale woman who walks on the chests of those who sleep on a full stomach. Same experience, different names, different faces, all of them, one experience. A weight, an inability to move, and pure terror. For thousands of years, humanity looked at this experience and said, something supernatural is visiting us in the night. They were not wrong that something was visiting. They just did not yet know it was coming from inside. So who does this happen to? Sleep paralysis is more common than most people realize. Roughly 1 in 5 people will experience it at least once in their lifetime. But for some people, it happens repeatedly, regularly, predictably, and the pattern is not random. Sleep paralysis clusters around specific conditions. The first is sleep deprivation. When you are chronically underslept, your brain compensates by entering REM sleep faster and more intensely than usual. The deeper and more sudden the REM, the higher the risk of the timing slipping. The second condition is stress and anxiety. This one is particularly significant. Anxiety keeps the nervous system in a state of low-level alert, even during sleep. The brain that is already scanning for threats while awake does not stop scanning when it closes its eyes. It is more likely to generate a threat presence during paralysis, more likely to make the experience vivid, terrifying, and prolonged. If you experience sleep paralysis frequently, your nervous system may be trying to tell you something about your waking life. Your body is speaking. The third condition is sleeping on your back. Research consistently shows that sleep paralysis occurs more frequently in the supine position. When you sleep on your back, the weight of your body affects your breathing in subtle ways that can trigger the phenomenon. Something as simple as changing your sleep position has been shown to reduce episodes significantly. The fourth condition is irregular sleep schedules. Shift workers, students, people who travel across time zones. Anyone whose sleep pattern is inconsistent is disrupting the precise choreography that REM sleep requires. When the rhythm breaks, the timing slips. Now, here is something that almost nobody talks about. Sleep paralysis can be induced deliberately. Lucid dreamers, people who have trained themselves to become conscious inside dreams, often use the sleep paralysis state as a doorway. Instead of panicking when the paralysis begins, they relax into it. They observe the hallucinations with curiosity rather than terror. And they use the state as a launching pad into a fully conscious dream, where they can fly, explore, create, and experience anything imaginable. Same paralysis. Different choice. The same experience that sends most people into pure panic becomes for some the most extraordinary adventure of their sleeping life. The difference is not the experience itself, it is the relationship with fear. So what do you do if it happens to you? The first thing, and the hardest, is to remember where you are. You are in your bed, you are safe. What you are seeing is not real. Your brain is generating it, and it will stop. The second thing is to focus on something small, not your whole body, not trying to sit up or scream. One finger, one toe. The REM atonia signal is already fading. A tiny movement is often enough to break it completely. The third thing is to regulate your breathing. You can breathe during sleep paralysis even when it does not feel like it. Slow, deliberate breaths send a signal to your nervous system that the threat is not real. The parasympathetic system activates. The hallucination loses power. And the fourth thing, if this happens to you regularly, look at your sleep, look at your stress, look at what your nervous system is carrying while you are awake. Sleep paralysis is rarely just a sleep problem. It is often a signal from a body that is holding too much. Your body is speaking. You are not haunted. You are not losing your mind. You are not being visited by something from another world. You are experiencing one of the oldest, most universal, most misunderstood features of the human brain. A brain that is so committed to protecting you that it will build an entire demon from nothing just to explain why you cannot move. And when you understand that, the demon loses its power. Not because it was never scary, but because now you know exactly where it came from. It came from you. And that means you were never actually alone in that room. If it happens tonight, breathe first. One slow breath, then one finger. If it happens regularly, it is worth asking what your waking life is carrying that your sleeping mind keeps trying to show you. Your brain built a demon to protect you. That is not something to fear. That is something to be grateful for. The end? Subscribe, please.